Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the first in this new series on CNC3, the Business Watch. What is the Business Watch? Well, it's aimed at providing an opportunity for captains of industries within our various sectors to demonstrate the link between their particular organization and the broader socio-economic development of Trinidad and Tobago. And you, our viewers, will also obtain a greater appreciation and understanding of the importance of the organizations which will be showcased throughout this series. And indeed, we do have a lot to share on this and the upcoming episodes. This evening, we will be reviewing the education sector through the eyes of the School of Business and Computer Science. And I'm pleased to have with me Dr. Robin Maraj, who is the Executive Director and the Principal of the SBCS. Dr. Maraj, welcome to our first Business Watch program.
Thank you, Sandrina. And I must say, thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today to share my views on education and how it's going to help us in terms of national development.
Good. Dr. Maraj, since the establishment of the SBCS in February 1987, the institution has grown leaps and bounds into an innovative and state-of-the-art institution. And this, to me, can only be attributed to your dynamism and innovative capacity, which I know because I'm also a student. I'm proud to be of the institution. How do you respond to that in terms of the growth of the institution?
Well, I mean, it's been 23 years, we're now going on 24, and I think it's a lovely compliment in terms of the innovation and the dynamism. Yes. One, however, that I can't accept solely in that at the very beginning of SBCS, I was very fortunate to meet with many like-minded individuals. So I think what has really helped SBCS is the fact that we have had from the very inception of SBCS, many men and women, Trinidadians, who shared my view of education and what it can bring to society in terms of education being the greatest, in terms of all the agents of change, by far the greatest one in terms of really creating permanent change and evolving societies as such. And I think, that really has been our passion. And as we have grown, so too has that core team. And we've been very fortunate in recruiting and attracting more and more like-minded individuals that has helped to sustain that growth as to where we are today.
And growing and growing.
And I think that's the fuel, the people.
Yeah. Part of your mission, unlocking the human potential, to me is quite powerful in terms of what it represents. And over the past 2 decades, what are some of the key outcomes that you have realized in the context of the mission?
And I'd say to you that, at the very beginning of SBCS as such, one of the things that always struck me is that in our country, much of the resources that we depend on lie underground. It's really our natural hydrocarbon resources as such. And one of the things that, has really been my passion is to really make our peoples of the region, not just Trinidad and Tobago, the most valuable natural resource that we have, that can add value. And in terms of really what unlocking the human potential, that is what we have used education for, to really show people the many avenues that they can utilize to attain an education that can assist them in moving up the socioeconomic ladder, can assist them in obtaining good jobs, in becoming productive members of society. And we now have thousands of those individuals. And that really brings great joy to the team and to everyone at SBCS that keeps growing. And we keep seeing society being changed gradually. Yes. But it is being changed as such. And that is really the whole concept of unlocking the human potential, giving people the opportunity to really become earners, to become learners, to become productive. And I mean, when we opened the school in Santa Cruz Road, number 3 Santa Cruz Road in San Juan, it was really a hole-in-the-wall type operation. But the fact is, even there, people came. People wanted the opportunity. They wanted to learn. They wanted to improve themselves. And I think we have just seen a continuation of that as we have grown, that has not changed. Our people, they are ambitious. They want to move forward. They want to be part of something grand. And, they are willing to put out the sacrifices and make it happen. And, we have seen that for the last 23 years.
It's the academic empowerment that keeps evolving and evolving. And I see it.
Yes.
I see it all the time.
It is. And it's also one of the things that we have done at SBCS is not to place barriers to the education, but to show individuals that there are many paths to the same goal. Yes. So it's not a question of you must come in and have 4 A levels, or you must have the 6 CAPE units, or if you did not have that, you couldn't progress. I mean, we have provided a multitude of avenues, such that, no one really, especially with the GATE program, no one really should be left behind.
Yes.
Everyone now has an opportunity to move forward. And also, we have enlarged the number of offerings. So it's not just a question of, engineering or science or law or medicine. I mean, the number of careers out there, innumerable.
Yes,
Innumerable.
yes. This brings me to my next question, Dr. Maraj, which has to do with the educational balance which you've been able to successfully create by offering both academic and professional training programs. What was the thinking? You may have articulated in a preamble, but what was the thinking in terms of the offerings for this particular combination?
Well, it's interesting because, the education system in our country tends to be highly theoretical. And what you tend to find is that when you produce a graduate and you hope for that graduate that he or she is going to go out there and get a good job, be able to add value to society as such, sometimes what happens is that the education needs to be fine-tuned. So, for example, we could have someone come in to do a BSc in computer science, and they could have scored very well, graduate upper second or first class honors, but yet not have the exact skill set that industry is looking for. Because industry now wants certain very specific things.
Yes.
So you find, for example, and that's where the training comes in.
Yes.
Training is very specific to something. And I always say to people that, education is a much greater concept. Education allows you to keep on being a learner. Education allows you to function in an environment where there are many unknown variables.
Yes.
You will not lose your head. With a sound education, you are able to assess the situation, you're able to research in your minds the various opportunities and theories available to you, and then possibly make the best decision. When we talk about training, it's very much more specific to doing the job. So let's say, for example, you came to SPCS and you did a computer course on word processing. You could learn all about word processing in a very theoretical way.
Yes.
All about what are the good things about word processing. But you go for a job and they say, look, we want you to learn, do it on Microsoft Word or using Microsoft Word. And you say, well, I don't know Microsoft Word. And that's where the training comes in. It's really the sharp edge of the sword. It's really focusing on that. And what we have found is that there is a demand for that, for getting people up and ready, for getting people into that final phase where they can now really assume the position in industry as such. And sometimes with the education, you tend to find that not all professions give you that apprenticeship type period where they can convert the education into that additional value that you get from being trained. Like in medicine, where once you complete the medical degree, you still go on and you have to be interned. So you have a period of time where that knowledge and all that education you've acquired is being put into practice, is being cemented. You are learning to actually be a doctor at that point. And I think that is where training comes in.
And I think that there is where you unlock the potential.
Yes.
The human potential.
Exactly.
Yes.
What you have found, Sandrine, sometimes also is that, very interestingly, sometimes individuals come and they don't want to do a academic course in computer science or management. They may prefer to do a short course.
Yes.
But after having done the short course or the training program, they then realize that there's a lot to this and it's not hard. It's very practical.
Yes.
So sometimes the short training programs have served to open up to the individual a wide range of possibilities that possibly going straight into the theoretical program might have frustrated them.
Yes.
So we have seen it work two ways, from education to training and vice versa.
Wonderful. We'll take a short break and return with the Business Watch on CNC3 in a few moments.